A little bit silly on his own program.
We're approaching 2 months in. I mean, you must have a feeling in your gut, look me in the eye and tell me you don't, that this is really going badly and I shouldn't have thrown my lot in with this team.
Oh, no, I feel the opposite.
All right. Tell me why.
I'm so sorry, Bill.
No, tell me why.
No, I feel so proud of, I mean, I was never a Republican or a conservative. I was a leftist, and I am still a leftist. I'm just a MAGA leftist now because...
That makes no sense.
But tell me how you are, why you're so happy with how things are going, and explain to my audience, what is a MAGA leftist?
I'm happy because I feel like Donald Trump wakes up every morning and thinks, how can I make America better? How can I keep a campaign promise that I made? How can I do exactly what I promised my supporters I was going to do? We've never, ever, ever seen efficiency like this. We've never, ever, ever seen a president who truly wants to deliver exactly what he promised to his supporters and to the country overall. Trump throughout the campaign was saying our success will be our retribution. And that's what we're experiencing right now. This is everything I hoped for and more. And I could not have believed that he would be so successful. So, there was so much that I wanted to answer, Bill. I knew that I only had a few minutes. A MAGA lefty is somebody who has realized that the MAGA tent is big and that this president wants to represent all Americans at a more fundamental level. Donald Trump is anti-war, he's pro-worker, he believes in a protectionist economy, and he's a social moderate. This was the left's agenda for 100 years. And so I don't see why I shouldn't get to still call myself a lefty just because Donald Trump lifted the best parts of the Democrats' agenda out from under them. They abandoned labor, and he decided to represent labor. They embraced war, and he decided to steal their anti-war platform. They went totally kooky crazy on the lefty stuff, and he said, well, you know what? Looks like the moderate middle is just there for the taking. I'm going to take it. That's where I'm at, and I feel very represented and very happy.
And if more people just looked at the policies and the policy outcomes, the objectives of those policies, they would also identify as you do, but so many are transfixed by Trump and hating Trump that they don't actually look at what the agenda is. And you're right, he has taken a lot of what were traditionally leftist policies, and that is part of Make America Great Again, all about America first. It's all about protecting American workers, starting up American manufacturing again and reinvigorating that. And it's got to say, how divorced from reality are these lefties, even sensible ones like Bill Maher, who think Trump voters are somehow upset by what they're seeing, and the polls are showing something entirely different to that. And even the polls that are traditionally favouring the Democrats are showing their approval rating under 30%. But yeah, I mean, this is just dire straits for the Democrats to have an approval rating in the 20s. How are they going to come back from that?
It's truly amazing. If you think of this split screen, on the one hand, you have a president who is representing the working class, elevating every hardworking American. He's getting us out of wars and bringing peace. And he's bringing common sense, moderate social policy back to the table. And what do the Democrats represent? Well, they represent keeping tren de agua here in America. They represent opposition to deporting rapists who are not citizens. They represent opposition to deporting Hamas supporters who are not citizens. They represent supporting trans women in women's locker rooms and women's sports, and they represent protecting the fraud and abuse of our government. So, of course, their brand is in the toilet. Trump took everything that was good about them, and instead of saying, oh, wow, a president who's actually going to do leftist things, they decided to embrace everything that is just insane and crazy. And they here's the thing, Rita, they turned on their own values and their own voters rather than admit that Donald Trump had a point. And this is truly unforgivable stuff.
Absolutely, and they're being punished for it. Now, let's speak quickly about the Russian-Ukraine war. Earlier today, Presidents Trump and Zelensky had an hour-long phone call, and afterwards, Zelensky said he thinks lasting peace is achievable this year, and he was full of praise for President Donald Trump. What a difference a couple of weeks makes, Batia. Tell me about how that is being perceived in the US.
I think people feel relieved. President Trump had to speak harshly to Zelensky when he was in the Oval Office. Most Americans approved of what they saw there. We want this war to end. We're finished, supporting foreign wars that have nothing to do with us. We hate the bloodshed. And I think a lot of us feel that we hate that our support was a big function of prolonging this bloodshed. I think President Trump feels that this is a proxy war in which the two superpowers do not want to be at war anymore. And he's desperate to bring this to a close. And I think he's doing a really good job. He has figured out how to play Putin, and he's figured out how to move Zelensky. And so I think that hopefully, please God, we will see movement very, very soon. I think he is very good at manipulating both Putin and our European allies. I think, we've seen European allies coming into the Oval Office and being very deferential. And as an American, you just love to see it. So I'm really hopeful that with God's help, we'll see an end to this very soon.
And has been very good in getting the Europeans to spend more on their own defence.